No one in Judge Judy's courtroom that morning had any idea they were about to witness a moment that would shake the internet, humiliate a senator's family, and ignite a national conversation about privilege. But everything changed the second 16-year-old Ava Gray, daughter of Senator Thomas Gray, walked through the courtroom doors with a confidence so blinding it made the entire audience straighten in their seats. She wasn't nervous. She wasn't respectful. She wasn't even pretending. She strolled in like she was stepping onto the set of a reality show she planned to dominate, not a courtroom where real consequences existed. Her chin was high, her posture radiated entitlement, and she wore the unmistakable expression of someone who had spent her entire life being shielded from the fallout of her own mistakes. What no one expected was how fast her arrogance would ignite a firestorm. It took exactly 30 seconds for the atmosphere in that courtroom to shift. Judge Judy didn't even look up at first. She was reviewing the case file, a simple car damage dispute on paper, nothing unusual. But as soon as she heard the loud, exaggerated sigh echo from Ava's direction, she raised her eyes. And that single glance was all it took. Judy had seen thousands of entitled people sit in front of her, but there was something about Ava that triggered an instant, instinctive recognition. It wasn't her age. It wasn't even her disrespect. It was the unmistakable belief in her eyes that she was untouchable. The kind of belief that only grows in someone who has never been told no, who has never been held accountable, who has always solved every problem with a last name instead of honesty. The audience could feel the tension gathering like a storm waiting for the first crack of lightning. But Ava wasn't reading the room at all. She was too busy glancing at the cameras, adjusting her designer jacket, and giving tiny smirks to her friends seated just behind her. She looked at Judge Judy like the judge was a minor inconvenience, like this whole process was beneath her. Worst of all, she behaved with the casual entitlement of someone who had been raised to believe that consequences were optional. She rolled her eyes at every instruction, scoffed under her breath at basic rules, and whispered, "This is so stupid," just loud enough for the microphones to pick it up. She genuinely believed this would be another situation her father would clean up with a well-placed phone call. What she didn't know, what she couldn't possibly have imagined, was that Judge Judy had already seen the screenshots. She had already read every message Ava sent to her friends bragging that she was going to make this pathetic woman cry. She'd already studied the TikTok clip Ava posted mocking Lisa Ramos, calling her an overdramatic nobody with a trash car. And she had already recognized the red flags in Ava's version of events. Every lie. Every deflection. Every attempt to manipulate the narrative. It was all sitting neatly in the folder on Judy's desk, waiting to be dismantled. And it was about to happen faster than Ava could blink. But before that explosion of reality, before the moment the entire courtroom fell into stunned silence, the narrator and all of us, every viewer watching this later online, knew something big was coming. Because the moment Ava opened her mouth for the very first time, the temperature in the room dropped. She leaned forward, crossed her arms, and said with a soft, mocking laugh, "Honestly, Your Honor, I don't even know why we're wasting time on this. My dad writes the laws you're trying to enforce." The audience gasped. Judge Judy didn't flinch. That single sentence would become the most replayed opening line of any courtroom clip in a decade. It would spark millions of stitches, reaction videos, commentary breakdowns, and political debates. It would be quoted in articles, podcasts, and even late-night TV monologues. And it would set the stage for what came next, the fastest, most decisive, most humiliating takedown a spoiled teenager had ever received in that courtroom. But in that exact moment, Ava smiled. She thought she had just won. And here's the thing that made this moment legendary, she believed it. She genuinely believed her father's power placed her above accountability. She genuinely believed she could insult Judge Judy on live television and walk out victorious. She genuinely believed this courtroom was just another place where connections mattered more than truth. But she was about to learn that Judge Judy's courtroom is the one room in America where titles, power, and privilege don't matter at all. Before we continue to the moment Ava realized she couldn't talk her way out of this one, do one thing, hit that like button if you believe no no matter how powerful their parents are, should ever be above the law. And subscribe if you want to see more real justice moments where entitlement finally meets accountability. Because what's coming next isn't just a courtroom exchange, it's a complete unraveling of privilege, ego, and the myth of untouchability. Ava Gray was seconds away from the most humiliating lesson of her life. And Judge Judy was ready to teach it. The instant Ava finished her arrogant sentence about her father writing the laws, the entire courtroom shifted. Even the bailiff, who'd been working with Judge Judy for years and thought he had seen every level of disrespect possible, lifted his head in disbelief. Lisa Ramos, the plaintiff seated across from Ava, lowered her eyes, not out of shame but out of second-hand embarrassment. She had expected Ava to lie, to minimize, even to manipulate the story. But she never expected the senator's daughter to walk straight into self-destruction with a smile on her face. Judge Judy, however, didn't rush. She didn't snap back. She did what she always did when she sensed the deeper truth behind someone's bravado, she let the silence sit. Pure, heavy, uncomfortable silence. The kind of silence that doesn't just fill a room, it exposes it. Ava shifted in her chair, tapping her manicured nails on the desk as if the judge's lack of reaction annoyed her. But that silence was deliberate. Judy wasn't simply waiting. She was studying. Calculating. Observing every micro-expression on Ava's face. And what she saw confirmed everything she had read in the case file. This girl wasn't just entitled. She was dangerous in the way privileged teenagers become dangerous, because they carry the illusion that consequences don't exist. They weaponize the protection they've always had and wield it like a shield. Judy had seen adults like Ava before, spoiled, defensive, loud, manipulative. But seeing it in a teenager, that triggered something deeper. Something sharper. Something that said, this needs to stop today. With a measured inhale, Judge Judy finally lifted the case file. Miss Gray, she began, her tone flat, steady, deceptively neutral, why don't you tell me what happened that day? Ava leaned back in her seat like she was being asked about homework she didn't feel like finishing. I already did. She jerked her thumb toward Lisa, left her car behind mine, blocking me in. So I nudged her bumper. Anyone would have. It's not my fault she drives a cheap piece of. Stop. Judge Judy's voice sliced through the air like steel. Ava blinked, caught off guard. You nudged her bumper? Judy asked slowly. Yes, Ava said confidently, crossing her legs with the polished arrogance of someone who didn't realize she had just confessed to the entire case. I barely touched it. She's exaggerating because she wants money. Lisa opened her mouth to respond, but Judy lifted a finger without even looking at her. Not yet. Then she turned back to Ava. So you're saying the plaintiff caused you to hit her car? Ava shrugged. Basically. She parked wrong. I was late. What was I supposed to do? The audience's reaction was immediate, stifled laughter mixed with gasps. They couldn't believe what they were hearing. They were witnessing a level of privilege so unfiltered, so unmasked, that even the cameras seemed to zoom in involuntarily. Judge Judy's expression didn't change. Not yet. And you believe that entitles you to damage someone's property and then sue them for being upset about it? Ava scoffed. Well, yeah. She made me late. Do you know how important my schedule is? My dad. Your father is not here, Judge Judy said sharply. And this is not his courtroom. For a moment, just a fraction of a second, Ava's confidence cracked. Her shoulders tensed. She tried to cover it with attitude, but Judge Judy saw it. Everyone saw it. Lisa finally spoke. Her voice was soft, but steady. Your Honor, I have the footage from the security camera. She didn't nudge my bumper. She hit it 3 times. Hard. And then she laughed about it before driving off. Judge Judy nodded once. She had already seen the video in her pre-review. The clip was brutal, Ava repeatedly reversing and accelerating into Lisa's car as if attempting to shove it out of the way. It was less nudge and more deliberate battering. "Miss Gray," Judy said calmly, "do you understand that leaving the scene after damaging someone's vehicle is illegal?" Ava rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, can we not with the dramatic stuff? It wasn't a big deal. The scratches were tiny. My dad fixes stuff like this all the time." And there it was, the sentence that sealed her fate. "My dad fixes stuff like this." Judge Judy set the file down. Very slowly. Very deliberately. The room felt colder, quieter, heavier. This wasn't just a case anymore. This wasn't just property damage. This was a teenager openly admitting she expected her father's influence to erase her wrongdoings. And Judy had absolutely no intention of letting that illusion continue. "Your father's position," Judy said quietly, "has absolutely no bearing on your responsibility as a citizen. And the more you invoke him, the clearer it becomes that you believe you are above consequences." Ava opened her mouth to protest again, but Judy raised her hand. "Don't speak. Not yet." Everyone in the courtroom felt it, the shift, the tightening, the gathering energy of a storm about to break. Ava's smirk was fading. Her foot stopped tapping. Her hands tightened around the edge of the desk. She could sense something she hadn't felt before. A loss of control. What Ava didn't know was that Judge Judy was seconds away from introducing evidence that would not only expose her lies but shatter the protective bubble she had lived in her entire life. The courtroom was about to erupt. Ava's confidence, already cracking, took a harder hit when Judge Judy finally opened the manila folder sitting on her bench. The room leaned forward subconsciously. Everyone felt it. This was the moment Judy shifted from questioning to exposing. "Miss Ramos," Judge Judy said, her voice steady, "you submitted the security footage as Exhibit A?" "Yes, Your Honor." Judge Judy lifted the USB, holding it between her fingers like a weapon of truth. Ava tried not to show fear, but her eyes gave her away. They flicked to the drive, widened for a breath, then narrowed again behind forced attitude. "We'll get to this in a moment," Judy said. "But first, I want to hear the rest of your testimony. Miss Ramos, continue." Lisa nodded. She wasn't dramatic. She wasn't emotional. She was simply tired. "Your Honor, I confronted Ava right after I saw the footage. I asked her why she hit my car like that." "And what did she say?" Judy asked. Lisa hesitated, then looked directly at Ava. "She said, cry about it. My dad owns half this town. Nothing's gonna happen to me." The audience reacted like they'd been slapped. A wave of disbelief swept across the courtroom. Even the bailiff slowly turned his head toward Ava as if waiting for her to deny it. Ava didn't. She only rolled her eyes harder, crossing her arms tighter across her chest like someone who believed the world was conspiring against her brilliance. Judge Judy leaned forward slightly. "Did you say those words, Miss Gray?" Ava hesitated, then shrugged with theatrical annoyance. "I don't know, maybe. People misunderstand things all the time." "Misunderstand?" Judy repeated. "She quoted you almost verbatim." Ava smirked. "Then she must have a great memory." Judge Judy exhaled once, a slow, controlled breath. The kind she only used before leveling a courtroom earthquake. "Miss Gray, do you know what accountability is?" Ava scoffed. "Yes, obviously." "Really?" "Because everything I've heard so far tells me you believe accountability is something that happens to other people." Ava shot back, "That's not true. I just—" "Stop," Judy snapped, her finger lifting an inch off the bench. "When I am speaking, you will not interrupt me." Ava's mouth snapped shut so fast it made a faint clicking sound. Judge Judy continued, "Your father may write laws. But I enforce rules. And in this courtroom, your last name has the same value as every other last name. 0. A ripple of awe passed over the audience. Ava looked stunned for the first time. Lisa continued, her voice steady. Your Honor, Ava didn't just hit my car. She bragged about it at school. She laughed about it to her friends. She posted a screenshot of the security camera angle on her Instagram story with the caption, "Oops. She'll survive." This time, even the cameras seemed to flinch. People turned, whispering in disbelief. Judge Judy slowly turned toward Ava. Is that true? Ava swallowed. Her jaw tightened. It was a joke. Judy nodded slowly. A joke. Damaging someone's property. Leaving the scene. Mocking the victim. Laughing about it publicly. That's quite the sense of humor. Ava shifted, her arrogance flickering like a candle in the wind. Look, it wasn't that serious. It is serious, Judy snapped. It is extremely serious. The room froze. Miss Gray, Judy said, voice lowering into that deadly calm tone she used when she was about to deliver the intellectual version of a surgical strike, do you believe the law bends for people your age? Ava didn't answer. Let me answer for you, Judy continued. Yes. You do. You believe your father's position is armor. You believe your mistakes disappear because someone else cleans them up. You believe a car isn't property, a driver isn't a person, and accountability is optional. Judy leaned back, eyes locked on Ava like a hawk. But today, that ends. Ava opened her mouth, but no words came out. Because she could feel it, her world shifting. The protective bubble she had lived in her entire life was thinning. Weakening. About to burst. Judge Judy finally inserted the USB into the courtroom monitor. Let's watch the footage. Ava paled in a way makeup could not hide. Her throat bobbed in a swallow she tried to disguise as a confident exhale. But nothing could hide what everyone sensed. She was terrified. The video began to play. The silent screen showed Ava's car reversing, then surging forward into Lisa's bumper. Once. Twice. 3 times. Then Ava got out, looked at the damage, laughed, pulled out her phone to take a picture, and drove off. The audience gasped. Ava's face drained of all color. Judge Judy watched the screen without blinking. When it ended, she turned to Ava with the coldest, most controlled expression possible. Miss Gray, she said softly, do you still consider that a nudge? Ava's voice cracked for the first time. I didn't mean. You meant exactly what you did, Judy said. And you meant every word you said afterward. Ava froze. Her world, her entitlement, her confidence, her safety net, was collapsing right in front of her. And Judge Judy wasn't done. Not even close. Ava Gray sat frozen, truly frozen, for the first time since she stepped into the courtroom. The girl who had burst in with designer confidence and political immunity now looked like a child trapped in a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. Judge Judy closed the folder slowly, deliberately, letting the silence stretch until it became a weight pressing down on the entire room. All right, Judy finally said. Let's break this down. Her voice was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that always came before she delivered a ruling so devastating it echoed through every hallway of the internet. Miss Gray, Judy said, you deliberately hit another person's vehicle multiple times. You laughed about it. You documented it. Then you threatened the victim with your father's position. Ava swallowed. I didn't mean. Judy raised a finger. Stop. Ava stopped. You didn't mean to get caught. That's what you mean. Ava's mouth remained open for a second before closing slowly. She had no comeback. No attitude. No arrogance left. Judy continued, let me tell you something about power, Miss Gray. Power that isn't accompanied by responsibility is just destruction waiting to happen. And you've proven that. The audience murmured in agreement. Ava's father shifted uncomfortably in his seat behind her, the first sign that even he wasn't prepared for the way Judy was dismantling his daughter. Judge Judy turned to Lisa. Miss Ramos, continue. Lisa nodded, her voice steady. Your Honor, after she posted the video, my insurance refused coverage. They said the footage showed intentional damage, not accidental. Ava flinched. Lisa continued, I had to pay for everything out of pocket. I work 2 jobs. I couldn't afford repairs. My car was shaking whenever I drove it. I had to leave early at night shifts because I was scared it would break down in the wrong neighborhood. Judy blinked. How much did the repairs cost? For $200, Lisa said. And another $1,800 for private security cameras so nothing like this would happen again. Ava's jaw dropped. That's insane. Judy turned her head sharply. Silence. Miss Gray, Judy said, what you caused is what's insane. Ava shrank back in her seat. Lisa continued, I also had to replace all 4 tires because they were slashed 2 days after I confronted Ava. The courtroom gasped. Ava jerked upright. I didn't do that. That wasn't me. We'll get to that, Judy said sharply. Miss Ramos, finish. Lisa nodded. I started getting harassed online. Anonymous messages calling me names. Saying I was trying to ruin Ava's life. It got so bad that my doctor diagnosed me with stress-related hypertension. I had to pay $3,000 in medical bills. Ava pressed her hands against her forehead. I never told anyone to do that. Judy didn't look convinced. But your followers did it because of your posts. Actions have ripple effects, Miss Gray. Especially reckless actions. Lisa took a breath. And then, the day before I filed this case, someone keyed the entire length of my car. The bumper too. 7 deep scratches, $2,600 in damage. The audience buzzed. Ava looked horrified, not guilty, not smug, just horrified. Judy folded her hands. Miss Gray, do you understand what we're dealing with? This isn't a teenager being reckless anymore. This is a chain reaction caused by your behavior. Ava shook her head, voice trembling. I swear I didn't do the tires or the keying. I swear. That wasn't me. Judge Judy didn't let her off the hook. Then perhaps you should have thought of the consequences before provoking an avalanche. Ava's lip trembled. Judge Judy then opened a second folder, a thicker one. This time, Ava's father straightened in his seat. Now, Judy said, let's discuss the reputational harm. Ava's eyes widened. Reputational harm? Yes, Judy said. Your actions resulted in damages to Miss Ramos far beyond car repairs. Ava's father stood. Your Honor, with all due respect. Judy cut him off with a single raised palm. Sit down, Senator Gray. The room fell silent at the sheer authority in her voice. He sat. Miss Ramos, Judy said, tell me about the video. Lisa nodded, her voice shaking from emotion, not fear. Your Honor, after Ava posted the footage of her hitting my car, my workplace found it. They said it made the business look unsafe. They told me if the drama continued, I might be asked to resign. Ava looked stricken. Lisa swallowed hard. I was also harassed on social media. Strangers calling me slurs. People accusing me of lying. I had to deactivate everything. I had panic attacks every time my phone vibrated. The audience stared at Ava, who looked like she was physically shrinking under the weight of what she had caused. Judge Judy asked, do you have an estimate of damages related to emotional distress and reputational harm? Lisa pulled out a paper. Yes, Your Honor. My lawyer helped calculate it. It's around $52,000. Ava's father inhaled sharply. Ava whispered, oh my God. Judy nodded. Indeed. She closed the file. Miss Gray, she said, voice low and final, I hope you're paying attention. Because this, everything you just heard, is what happens when you confuse privilege with permission. Ava looked at her hands, small, trembling, powerless now. And for the first time since the hearing started, she looked genuinely afraid. Judge Judy wasn't done. But Ava's world had already begun to collapse. Ava Gray sat motionless, staring at her hands, her designer confidence long gone. The girl who walked into Judge Judy's courtroom believing she was untouchable now looked like someone standing in the path of a moving train, with no way to escape. Judge Judy folded her hands, letting the silence hang heavy. Then she spoke. Miss Gray, she said slowly, I want you to understand something very clearly. Every consequence you are facing today, you created. Ava swallowed hard. Her eyes glistened. But she didn't speak. Judy continued, for years, I have dealt with entitled individuals who thought respect was optional. But rarely, have I seen someone so young act with such consistent disregard for other people. Ava's father shifted in his seat again, but one look from Judy froze him. Lisa's eyes were still red from recounting everything she had lost. The audience watched her with sympathy, and watched Ava with a mix of shock, anger, and disbelief. Now, Judge Judy said, we will finalize the judgment. Ava's breath stopped. She looked like she was bracing for impact. But before delivering the ruling, Judy leaned forward. Miss Gray, stand up. Ava slowly stood. Her chin trembled. Her hands shook. Judge Judy's voice softened, not enough to comfort, but enough to cut deeper. What you've done is not the mistake of a teenager. It is the cruelty of someone who has never been told no, never been held accountable. Never been taught that your actions don't just inconvenience people, they hurt them. Ava blinked rapidly, trying not to cry. Your father's position does not protect you here, Judy said. Your last name does not lessen your responsibility. And your excuses do not undo the damage. A tear escaped down Ava's cheek. Now sit. Ava sat. Judge Judy opened the folder for the final time. Miss Ramos, she said, I am awarding you the full $4,200 in car repairs, the $1,800 for security cameras, the $3,000 in medical expenses, and the $2,600 for the keyed bumper. Ava's jaw trembled. That totals $11,600. Lisa nodded, emotional but relieved. Judy wasn't finished. In addition, she said, I am awarding $15,000 for emotional distress caused by intentional public humiliation, and another $37,000 for reputational damage and foreseeable financial impact. Ava gasped quietly. Her father closed his eyes. That brings your total judgment to. Judge Judy paused, not for drama, but for impact. $63,600. Due immediately. Ava's head snapped up. What? I don't have. Of course you don't, Judy said sharply. Because you've never had to take responsibility for anything in your life. But that changes today. Ava's father finally stood, unable to contain himself. Your Honor, she's 16. $63,000 is. Sit down, Senator Gray, Judy snapped. You should have sat her down years ago. The courtroom erupted in muffled reactions, shock, gasps, murmurs of approval. Judge Judy continued, your daughter intentionally damaged property, encouraged harassment, manipulated social media to attack someone, and weaponized your political reputation. All of that has consequences. Ava's tears streamed freely now. She wasn't angry. She wasn't demanding. She wasn't rolling her eyes. She was broken. Miss Gray, Judy said sharply, look at Miss Ramos. Ava obeyed instantly, as if her body moved before her mind could think. Lisa sat across from her, hurt, exhausted, but strong. This is the woman whose life you disrupted. This is who you laughed at. This is who you mocked. This is who you hit with your car and then bragged about it like it was entertainment. Ava's lip quivered. I'm sorry. Lisa blinked, surprised by the sincerity. Judge Judy didn't soften. You're not apologizing because you understand the harm. You're apologizing because you're facing consequences. There's a difference. Ava looked down again. Judge Judy closed the files. Judgment for the plaintiff, $63,600. Court is adjourned. The gavel came down like the final drumbeat of a war march. Ava let out a sound, half sob, half gasp, as reality slammed into her. Her father rushed to her side, but Judge Judy was already standing and walking away with the authority of someone who had just restored order to a world that desperately needed it. Lisa took a deep breath, tears of relief filling her eyes. Her world wasn't magically fixed, but justice, after everything, finally felt real. Ava rose slowly, her shoulders shaking. She looked around the courtroom, realizing that every person who had watched her walk in with arrogance, had now witnessed her fall. The audience whispered words she had never heard directed at her before. She deserved that. Maybe she'll learn now. Finally, someone told her no. Ava's father tried to comfort her, but she shrugged his hand away, not out of attitude, but out of shame. Deep, unfamiliar shame. Because for the first time in her life, the world didn't bend for her. It pushed back. Hard. Lisa approached her father, who embraced her with pride. The nightmare was over. As Ava was escorted out by the bailiff, not arrested, just guided, she wiped her face again and again, as if trying to erase the moment. But it was too late. Judge Judy had carved the lesson into stone. Power doesn't protect you when you use it to hurt others. Respect is earned, and arrogance always pays the bill. And that was the day Senator Gray's daughter learned what her father should have taught her years ago. Consequences don't care who your daddy is.